Alright guys, so I'm going to do a startup procedure here. Everyone does this differently, and some people have shortcuts, and I probably have shortcuts, and I don't know how accurate this is. But I figured I'd just post it. You know, maybe it'll help someone out. So I already shut my cockpit canopy because it's extremely loud here, and apparently apparently this is a dangerous area to start up. So my frame rates are a little low as well, but so generally my cockpit would be open right now, but it is closed, and this is how I'm basically going to start it up. Alright, so I'm going to start with the power switch over here, and I flick on the inverter after that. What I used to do, right after I had the inverter on, I used to go ahead and turn on all my radios and ask permission for startup, but that no longer seems to work anymore. I think you have to have APU power in order for the radios to even work. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to start up the APU and then put on the APU generator, then flick on the radios and ask permission to start up. Also, what I tend to do is after my APU gets up and running, the first thing I generally do, because this takes the longest, I usually turn on my CDU and my EGI. This enables it to align while I kind of ask for startup permission and, you know, turn on my MFDs and run all this other stuff. It just kind of means that it's less waiting afterwards. So, yep, so I have the power, the inverter. I'm going to throw on my oxygen. I generally don't do a lot of the tests, but if you wanted to test it out, you could hold on to this button, and you'll hear the little warning go off. It'll say oxygen low right here, and that's how you could tell that's working. What I do next is I turn on all my boost pumps, my fuel pumps. Okay, and then I go ahead and start the APU. So I'm going to do that now. I have the HOTAS Warthog, so that switch is on this throttle already, so you can see it flick right there, and then you could watch it spooling up on this gauge right here. So generally you want to wait until this gets to about 100. You'll see it kind of level out, and then you could go ahead and flick on your APU generator in the corner here. So let's go ahead and wait for that. Okay, so that seems to be up and running. I'll flick on the APU. Okay, you see a whole bunch of lights go off there. So we have power. And now what I'm going to do immediately, like I said, is flick on my CDU and my EGI. So I'm going to let that start its process as I turn on my radios and I, you know, ask the tower for a startup permission. So transmit, receive, and main. Okay, so if you do forget what the frequency is to the airport, you can just press F10 and generally find yourself here. Let's see where I'm at here. I'm assuming somewhere here. Yep, this is me. So you can click on this little icon right here by the airport, and it'll tell you what the what frequency they're at. So this is 121. So I'm going to go back into my cockpit, and let's put 121 on the radio. So it's at 121. Alright, 121.000. So my radio should be on now. Let's go ahead and ask for permission to start up. A-10C, Napa, request startup.
411, request startup.
Okay, I did not hear a response, but it did switch to the next Napa screen. So let's see if I'm going to try that one more time. Oh, there it is, okay. So it just was a little delayed. Maybe there's a bunch of other traffic here. Okay. So I got permission. My CDU is already on its way to starting up, so let's turn on some other systems here. I like to turn on my MFDs and my TAD type things over here. So up. This is going to be in test mode first. Press enter here, and that's going to go through the testing procedure for that. Let's turn on the MFDs now. You have day and night. I'm going to go, it's still light enough out here, so I'll go to day. What I'm also going to do, since my APU is up and running, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my aircraft lights. I have a pinky switch here on my throttle, so I'm going to go ahead and flick it on the pinky switch, and I'm going to do position flashing and anti-collision, so we should see those lights on right here on the wing, okay? So they're on. I generally keep flashing red and green lights on the ground, steady when I'm in the air, and then I'll flick off my anti-collision lights also when I take off. Alright, so the lights are on. This test is already finished, so I'm going to go ahead and exit that. Now I can flick this on. I did not load all the information yet, loading up, so now if you go to your DCS, you'll see that there's no weapons or anything loaded yet, so that's because we didn't do this load all right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And I'll show you guys also, if you change your weapons, if you land and change your weapons, you'll have to reload everything. Or if you just by accident click one of these icons, I'll show you how to go back and get to this load all screen. So you could do that, you know, even after. So I'm going to go ahead and turn some more things on here. I'm going to prepare for starting the engine, so I'm going to flick on the 2 generators for the engines. I'm going to kind of work my way to the left here, and I'm going to start my left engine first. Okay, and you'll see that again on my throttle. I don't have a hotkey for it, but I'll just move my throttle up, and you should see this left throttle move. While that's starting up, I'm going to go ahead and put on my anti-skid, my lights, landing lights, and my ejection seat arm. Okay, so now you'll see the engine spooling up. This is your left engine here. And that'll start winding up. When this gets enough power to operate this generator right here, we're going to get a warning, which this might be that right now. Let's see what's blinking here. Yep, APU generator. So right now we have 2 things generating power. We have the APU generator and the main engine generators now. What I'm going to go ahead and do is just silence this for now, for a second. And then when this engine's spooled up, which it is, I'm going to go ahead and shut off the APU generator, because we don't need it with the main engine started. Alright, there is a light here also that when you're starting up the engine you will notice. It's off now, which means the engine is all started up. When I start my right engine now, you're going to see this light go on again here, right in the corner. See, right here, engine start cycle. So that's how you know your engine is started and it's safe to start your right engine. Okay, so I'm going to let that spool up. And there it goes. There's the exhaust temperature. Here is the RPMs going up slowly on the right engine. Okay, so I'm going to let that wind up. It looks like this is all loaded right now. So we could go to the CDU. And look at that, we're already aligned. So I don't have to wait on this at least. I'm just waiting on me now. Before I go ahead and switch that to the proper thing, I'm going to show you guys how to go back to your load all screen. So we have it here, but let's say we go to our TAD. We no longer have the load all screen on either of these. And let me also, before I start doing that, this is all started up. I'm going to go ahead and shut off my APU now. Okay, so now that's off. It's a little more quiet. So let's say we want to load that again. Let's say we change our armament, or for some reason we just want to load everything again. If you hold down one of these buttons, you're going to get this screen. this load, you're basically replacing this button that I just held down with one of these. So let's do the load. I want it to go here. And now you click this load. Now here we are. We're back in the load screen. And then if you click load all again, it's going to do that procedure again. So it would update anything you changed, you know, whatever weapons you changed, it'll update all that. All right, so now I'm going to go back to the CPU because we don't need to do that. Actually, now I have this here. So if we hold this down again, I think the message screen was here, so I'm going to just put that back. Okay? So now that message is back on that button. Now that this is all loaded up also, you're going to hit nav, EGI, and now there's two switches here, which should correlate to the icons that are on here, so EAC. And let's go ahead and flick them on. Again, these buttons are on my joystick, so I'm going to arm them both. 1, 2. Okay, so that, nope, the EAC is not off, but that's probably because I didn't arm all these guys. And let's center out my trim. Okay, so now all my lights are off. That's a good way to know that you've started everything up correctly and all systems are go. I'm going to put on the pitot tube here, pitot heat, and let's just double check everything. Okay, so I like to go up from kind of right to left here. I can turn on all my countermeasures. Okay, my engines are running. Oh, let's line this up. Okay. Flick that on. Okay, let's check our flaps. So my flaps are already in takeoff position, so it's usually 10% flaps. Anti-skid lights are on. All these channels are on. Radio is set. Okay. And then the very last step is nose wheel steering, which I have on my joystick, and I think it's insert on the keyboard, and you'll see this little light go on here, steering engaged. So you'll know that now you can steer. If I move my rudder now, you'll see this little light on the aircraft turn. And that is it. That is how I start up the A-10. All right, thanks guys for watching.